What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of the Turnpike Titans podcast. I'm joined, as always, by my two co-hosts, Jarrett and Vin. And guess what? Who says you can't win back-to-back games without scoring one fucking point in the second half? Who says you can't do it? I sure as hell did it. Did you? Nevertheless, Tennessee Titans are victorious for a second straight week by a final score of 24-17, thanks to some very important turnovers by the Titans defense. Let's jump right into it as we always do. I'll save my little piece after you two go. Jarrett, start us off. First impressions on this very, very important divisional victory.
Like you said, it was very important, and it's also great to get back-to-back wins, especially a road win in the division. And like Vrabel said, our head is on the above water for the first time all year. This game, I was sitting on the couch. I was very content. I was happy. 16 first downs. His offense was rolling in the first half, 24 points. I said, man, this is going to be a stress-free Sunday. I even tweeted that. I wanted 40 points on the board. And little to no action. We didn't do that, but we got the win. The offense, man, it looked phenomenal in the first half. I mean, like I said, 16 first downs. The running game was there. The King is back, like we said. The holes were huge. He was involved more in the passing game as well. It's just a simple fact of not scoring points in the second half. I mean, I think we had one first down the whole second half on 18 plays and like 60 yards. It's unacceptable for a football game. And, I've seen all of us on Twitter. We were going back and forth with people. How can't you be happy as a fan? All this other stuff. Now, there's diehard fans and there's other fans on Twitter, obviously. I mean, if you look at the big picture, yeah, you were happy for the win, but you have to play 60 minutes of full football to win in the NFL. Now, if that was a playoff game and it's that close, you're sweating your balls off. So you have to continually score on the opposing's field, especially away. So we struggled. We continue to struggle with the second half, and that's definitely a concern. And obviously, when Henry goes, this offense goes, and when he doesn't, it totally flatlines. One of our top receivers for the whole game had 3 catches for 38 yards, which is still blah to me, with the receiving core. The defense, it stopped one of the best running backs in the league. We said it. That was one of our key points last week, to keep JT under wraps. And I think he had like 40 yards or something like that. If you guys correct me, whatever. 38. But the biggest thing with this defense, man, and it's clear to everybody now, when Bud Dupree is in and he sets the tone, the pressure's there, the run defense is there, but when he's not, it's a clear we can't get off the field. We cannot pressure the quarterback. So something needs to happen with that $20 million man, and he needs to stay healthy for the rest of the year because, we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, actually, you're right. It was 42. Matt Ryan had a negative rush, so that took their total to 38.
Yeah, I mean, and especially with the defense too. Matt Ryan, he almost had 400 yards passing, and I think we're letting opponents passer rating the quarterback's passer rating, we're the lowest in the NFL at 106 they're averaging. I mean, that's ridiculous. And we thought that was one of the strong points on this offseason. And clearly it's a glaring need right now. And what glaring need happens, Chris Harris, like we said in the 2 podcasts ago, I think the Saints are bringing him in for a visit. So, I mean, we could have used him. So we'll see what happens.
Yep. Vin?
First, I'd like to give myself another one of these. My prediction was 21-17. Last week I was pretty close. This week I was even closer. Predicted their score. I was 3 points off with our score. Like I said, I know you guys picked us to win too, but I got to be the internal optimist amongst the 3 of us. Someone's got to do it. It's a tough job, but yeah, no, I thought we looked phenomenal in the first half, and I jokingly said on Twitter at halftime, yeah, but how many points are we going to score in the second half? Thinking we'd throw 10 points on there, 14, but we actually scored none. So, yeah, I don't know what the disparity is. I don't know if it's like they're letting Tim Kelly call plays in the first half and letting Todd Downing call them in the second half. There's got to be some common denominator, because in the 3 weeks, Sal's been saying it, we've been outscored 70-7 or something in the second half.
64-7.
Something. Yeah, it's like something like that, 68 to something.
That. And
ironically, it's like almost the exact same from what we've scored to the opponents. So it's like something like 68-7 our scoring first half to second, And likewise, it's ridiculous, but I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's getting inexcusable. And I saw a stat that we had, I think, 18 first downs in the first half and 3 in the second half. And we had 28 total yards in the second half. So, I mean, let's be real. The Colts are a team that's not very good. They had to have a lot of things go right against them. I mean, for them against Kansas City. Well, we play the Kansas Cities, the Chargers, the Bills, the Dolphins, the Bengals, the Ravens,
Broncos.
the Broncos. We're not there yet.
I'm dead on the Broncos.
Yeah. All right. We'll see.
They got
We'll
a
see
tough
about
defense.
that.
That's about it.
Yeah, well, that's all they'll need with a team who can't score a fucking field goal in the second half. I'm sorry.
Well, when we play those teams, I mean, you're not going to be able to get away with the things we get away with when we play the the Raiders and the Colts of the world. So it is troubling, but hey, a win is a win is a win. We're playing the AFC South. We're tied for the division lead now. But guess what? The Jags did look good against Philly. I watched a decent amount of that game. But on to Washington. This would be so typical Titans for us to I don't even want to put the whammy on us, but this has a loss written all over it. If you're a Titans fan, this is just the kind of game they lose. So
you're screaming Jets of last year already.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. But there was a lot of bright things to focus on in that game. I mean, we're getting creative with Henry, it seems, throwing him the ball. I mean, I haven't seen him catch this many balls this early in the season in his 7 years here. I continue to say the defense was the bright spot of this team. Philly's own Tyler Tart with the acrobatic interception. Love when a fat man gets the
big man alert
ball. You're right, Bud Dupree, when he's on the field, it seems like he accelerates the play of everyone around him, but he can't seem to stay on the field. And I saw a stat today that our boy McCreary is leading the league in tackles right now. I think he has 30 tackles on the year. So a lot of bright spots on defense. Linebacking core played much, much better the last 2 weeks. And we still have those two guys named Jeffrey Simmons and Kevin Byard. So I'll continue to say the defense is going to have to keep bailing us out if our offense continues to stall. But good things to look forward to. But definitely need some work, especially offensively, because I'm sure Sal will go more in depth on it if he didn't already when he was in his car after the game. But it's on to Washington. Let's get this win and try and string together a little streak here because our schedule's pretty tough going forward. So
yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if I've said this on Twitter yet, but I think everyone should be on the same page when I say this team's got to go 4-2 at the break. I mean, they absolutely have to win this game, and they got to win the next game at home against the Colts. So I don't want to look too far ahead. I want to go into this game, but without question, with this schedule up and coming, I mean, they have to be 4-2 at the bye. Well, no, I mean, after this
week, Washington bye and then the Colts.
Oh, I thought it was Washington Colts in the bye. We're up. We got a bye after this week. Oh shit.
It's an early bye.
Yeah, no, I know. I don't really love that, but it is what it is. So we got to be 3-2 going to the bye. Now jumping in this game, if you are on my Twitter, you've seen most of what I had to say already, but I'll try to summarize it a little bit better. This team is not beating anyone worth a damn if they can't score a point in the second half. You could say what you want about Denver. You could say you want about any of these other teams, even Jacksonville. You're not beating Jacksonville if you're not going to be able to score a point in the second half. It's not going to happen. And I think there is very little chance you're beating the Colts again in a couple of weeks if you're not going to be able to score any points in the second half. At this point, it's almost like it's just embarrassing that we got to continue to talk about how awful our offensive coordinator is. The people that get paid to talk about the Titans are a lot of them are blinded by this, and they somehow think that there's a lot more underlying issues than just Todd Downing. Are there some? Yeah, of course there are some, but this guy cannot do anything that's not scripted. It appears. It appears that a lot of our play calling in the beginning is scripted, and once you got to make an adjustment, this guy is lost, and I think that's a nice way of putting it.
Clearly shows you. It clearly shows you. There was a graph. Someone posted it on Twitter that the highly scripted plays, the Titans are way up there in the good category. And like I said, 16 first downs, and then the Colts make the adjustments at halftime. We have one first down. You can't capitalize on their adjustments. Like, you can't adjust to them. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, it really is. And anyone with a pair of eyes can see that in the second half we just continuously want to run on every single first down. Now, mind you, I've said it already, I'll say it again, Derrick Henry is definitely back to his old self. Some people were trying to say that he always had it and the holes weren't there. No, the holes aren't really there much now either. He's just bursting off the line of scrimmage. He's breaking tackles, playing angry. And that's what we need. We desperately need that. So listen, if he's going to play like we're used to seeing, it's going to help us out. But if everyone on the planet knows we're going to run the ball in the second half on every single first down, what you saw last Sunday is what's going to continue to happen. My confidence in Tannehill has been elevated just a smidge more than it was last week.
He's back on.
No, I'm not back on. I'm not back on. But it's not his fault that I'm not back on. Because again, if you're going to consistently throw the ball around 20 times a game, you're not setting yourself up for success as a quarterback. Okay. You look at the teams that are the juggernauts in the NFL, and a lot of people are starting to come around with this logic as well. They need to throw. They need to throw.
Of course they do. That's not his fault. That's Downing's fault. He was 17 to 21. I mean, you got to throw the fucking ball.
I understand that. I get that. That's why I'm saying it's not his fault that I'm not back on the bandwagon. Statistically speaking, he had 4 incompletions last week. That's really good. But, I'm tired of seeing these 120, 140 yard fucking stat lines. It's terrible. We're not getting anywhere in this conference if we're going to continue to pray that 22 is going to take us to the homeland every week. It's not going to work. So moving forward to next week, which we'll talk about in a minute, they have to be a passing football team. And I know that's incredibly difficult now that your number 2 guy is out for a couple weeks and you don't know who the fuck you're going to see out there next week. And it sucks. But regardless, these still are NFL players. We need to throw the ball more. And our second half production is not going to go anywhere if we're continuously banking on Derrick Henry to produce all of our offense. So again, I'm very happy we won. It was an absolute necessity for this team to win. I mean, just talk about division, talk about record in general. I mean, there's a million ways that you can, describe how big this game was. But we'll see how we do offensively moving forward. Defense clearly was the only reason we won this game, obviously. And frankly, the craziest thing is I'm not thrilled really with the pass rush still, to be honest. Yeah, they got 3 sacks. But, Matt Ryan had a lot of time on Sunday, and that's why he threw for damn near 375 yards or damn near 400 yards, because he had a lot of time to throw most of the day. We need to work on that. Bud Dupree being out clearly is a big concern. I've said it a million times. He makes everyone around him better, even though he's not a crazy stat line guy. His pressure helps everyone else in the defensive line. So we got to pray that his injury is not, something we're going to be looking at long term. But, again, Chig Okonkwo, your leading receiver with 38 yards. Where are we going with that? Where are we going with that? Not to mention he should be more involved. And to your point, Vin, about the pass catching, yes, it's good that we're adding at least some sort of dimension to him, but that's not really what he is built to do. And I'm telling you, if we're going to rely on that, it's going to come back to bite us at some point. There's going to be a situation where we're going to try to throw him the ball in a pivotal 3rd and short, whatever the case may be. He's not a good catcher. He can't catch very well.
He had a bad drop.
And I mentioned this on the radio today when I called up, WSNR. Eventually, there's going to be a point in time when Tannehill's going to lob him up a screen pass, and because it's not a bullet pass, if he don't come up with it, that motherfucker's going up in the air, and someone's going to pick that shit off. And I don't want to be the one to say I told you so, but when you're throwing lob screen passes to a guy who's not good at catching, it can bite you, and I think it will. So when you got Hilliard back there, who is hands down the best pass catching back you got to give him more looks. I mean, he's a weapon, and we're hardly seeing him on the field. So all things considered, happy with a win, still very concerned moving forward. But in this league, it's hard to win, and we pulled it out. So, I can't.
Well, we're a missed field goal away from being 3-1, as pessimistic as all 3 of us have seemed at times.
We are.
I mean, we buried them after week 2. We were basically talking about we're going to be a bottom 5 team in the league, so.
But you can also flip that around and say
it
if
definitely
Bayard,
still doesn't look great and promising yet.
no.
First half Titans great. Second half Titans is not good. 7 points all year is
I
a bit
mean, yeah, you could say if Bayard doesn't tip that pass in the end zone against the Raiders, we're definitely losing. Definitely losing. We can't score after halftime. So how are we going to win that game if he winds up not deflecting that pass? Whatever. Dylan Cole. Yeah, he might have tipped it. The bottom line was Waller was catching that ball if Bayard didn't reach his left hand up. And if he catches that ball, they tie the game. And no one's telling me we win that game in overtime. Nobody is telling me we're winning that game. Right, wrong, or indifferent, it doesn't matter. We're 2-2 in a bad division with a team that realistically, although they look good in Jacksonville, they could very well come back down to earth and lose 3 in a row. So it's a good position to be in, but the changes have to come. And crunch time is on the horizon. So let's get right into what we usually do here. We'll talk about Tannehill. I already gave my 2 cents about it. Jarrett, you can go on your tangent about how he's a top 3 quarterback in the league right now. I'm just kidding, obviously, but 17 for 21, 137, 2 touchdowns. Where are you sitting right now at 17?
efficient. I mean, he's getting the job done as of now. I'm not going to give him like a crazy grade, but like a B plus is significant for that. But I would like to see them throw the ball. He used his legs this past week.
He did. Yes, he did.
So
He stepped up and scrambled. Very
Yeah.
happy he did.
Extending the play was
Extended the play. Yes.
I mean, it's just I would like to see them throw the ball.
Must have
but-
listened to us. Must have listened to their pod.
He must have. And
Yeah,
I hope he
right.
does. Maybe his
You know
therapist
he ain't
uses
getting
this.
coached to do it. You know he ain't getting coached to do it.
That's for fucking sure.
I mean, it's a thing. You can't really blame him because we have no threat now, especially if Treylon Burks goes down. I mean, who the fuck are they throwing? The
He
ball
wasn't a
to?
threat anyway. Let's be
I know, I
honest.
mean,
Fucking 2 targets a game. Get out of here.
Exactly. So now they're getting Derrick Henry more involved in the game, is what I said in the beginning. If he goes, we go. So now you're gonna have to throw him the ball. You're gonna have to have him rush the ball. So who's the threat on the outside? No one. So they're gonna start keying on Derrick Henry now that he's in the passing game more. So I mean, we'll see what happens. But all in all, he's surprisingly good.
B plus is definitely a fair
He's a great-
assessment, I would
yeah.
say. Vin?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay steady with Tannehill and give him another B. There's nothing wrong with B's. My transcript in college is 80% B's, the occasional A, the occasional C, but I got through my life on B's, so it's not a bad thing. But you're just not sounding like a broken record. You know what you're getting out of him. As long as he doesn't lose us the gate, makes us a play here and there. I think we could be all right with him. The postseason is a different story, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I'm not making excuses for the guy, but he lost his number 1 receiver. He's failed to get on the same page with basically anyone who's come through the door other than AJ Brown. I mean, couldn't do it with Julio. Robert Woods is coming along, but the guy hasn't had much continuity within his offense outside of Derrick Henry since he's been here. It's been a revolving door of Khalif Raymond, Corey Davis, AJ Brown, Robert Woods, Julio Jones, Treylon Burks, Cody Hollister. So
Smith.
yeah, it's he hasn't had a receiving core just not to get too far fetched, but like Brady, he's had Godwin, he's had Evans, you know what I mean, like a solid receiving core that he's spent years with. So not that I'm making excuses for him, but he's talented enough to be a quarterback on a winning team, but you still worry about him making a dumb play every now and again. But it was nice to see him use his legs. But yeah, I'm gonna stay steady. It was a B performance out of him. He hasn't done anything to wow me. There are some factors that work against him because, like I said, he hasn't had the same receiving core for basically his whole career here. But hopefully going forward, I mean, it seems like Robert Woods is coming around a little bit. Hopefully, as the year goes on, he's probably going to be our number 1 the whole year. Maybe with Burks out, it's going to force our hand with Chig. Get creative with him. Line him up in the slot. Line him as a receiver. Line him as a tight end.
Well, that $6 million tight end we paid that we fucking don't even let see the field.
The fuck.
Yeah, I don't know where he's been, Hooper. I mean, and then we're gonna have
Phillips.
to get Josh Gordon involved. Yeah, Phillips hopefully is back this week. Maybe we'll get Gordon involved, but
He played
Yeah,
last week, but he was active last week, by the way. No, he wasn't. He was, or no, I'm pretty
Kyle
sure he was.
Phillips?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was active.
Yeah, he had one target, but his
okay.
shoulder hurts apparently. So he's healthy enough to suit up, but we can't. Guy gets 9 fucking targets week 1. He's gotten 2 since week
Yeah.
1. I mean, Jesus fucking. I'm sorry, man.
No, it's all right. I think they lost a little bit of they don't want to put too much on his plate with him fumbling those punt returns. I don't think they want to fuck with his confidence too much early in his career. I don't know.
So let's sit him after that. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, well, we're going to need to do something going forward because we're running thin all over the place. So we're going to need something that we don't have much of, and that's creativity amongst our offensive play calling. So
Yeah.
hopefully Robert Woods develops that number one chemistry with Tannehill. And other than that, I mean, it's a crapshoot as to who's going to fucking get the ball. But yeah, I'm steady with Tannehill. I'm going to stop repeating myself and let Sal mention Malik Willis in the next 2 minutes.
Wow, you know what? We must be really on serious wavelengths after a year and 4 weeks doing this. Because that's exactly where I was going. I mean, how many times do I gotta? And here's the only thing. The other thing I didn't mention last week, which a lot of people don't even have the smarts to understand either. You don't even need to put him in with the expectation to have him do anything. The sheer threat to put him in, having no clue what's next, he can hand the ball off to Henry for 1 or 2 plays a game. It just adds another dimension to an offense who is completely lost after halftime. I'm going to keep hammering this home because although we've just won back-to-back games, we have still yet to score a fucking point in the second half. And there needs to be some sort of creativity. You guys want to know? I mean, really, all you have to do, all our listeners at home, watch the Kansas City Chiefs on a weekly basis. Not only do they have the best tight end in football and the best quarterback in football, arguably, and they used to have one of the best wide receivers, look at how creative they are on a week-to-week basis. There is one specific play in the red zone last week. I don't know if you saw it. They had Mahomes pointing at somebody before the ball snapped.
Yeah.
And then they direct snap it. Something so simple that creates something out of nothing. And this team cannot do it. So no one is going to tell me it's moronic, stupid, idiotic, or anything to put Malik Willis under center, behind center, however you want, for a couple snaps a game to shake things up, even if it just means a decoy to hand the ball off to Henry. Nobody's going to tell me otherwise. I'm going to keep hammering it every week until it happens, and we'll see if anything changes. But you guys said a lot of good things. I mean, I personally thought that they really should have picked someone up wide receiver wise this week. I mean, there's still a couple days. I don't know who the person would be.
Trade for somebody like I said.
Andy Isabella is a free agent.
Well, yeah. I mean, that guy again. I said he's Kyle Phillips. We don't need another Kyle Phillips. He's a short white guy who's really fast. No need for that. We already have one who we had a good game week 1, got hurt, and then we don't fucking use him since. There's no point of Andy Isabella. Josh Gordon, I mean, really, can you just sign the guy? He can't be worse than fucking Cody Hollister. How many weeks do we have to say it? Sign him for the year for fucking $900,000. Another thing that we also failed to mention, which is despicable. Do you know what Cole Beasley's contract for the fucking Tampa Bay Buccaneers is? It is for $650,000 with, I think, some sort of bullshit incentive to maybe get him close to 800 or 900. That is all this team needed to do to bring in a very good, not great, but a very good pass catcher who's seasoned, who's been through the ringer, and we didn't do it. We just had no interest in doing it. And now we are in the depths of hell in our wide receiver corps. It is a mess. It's a mess. And to make matters worse, even if it wasn't a mess, we don't throw nearly enough. So, again, I don't want to just rain too much on this parade, but I have really no confidence moving forward at the moment. So, I'm shown otherwise, just like I said last week, but we somehow scraped out a win on the road. So,
just to go back real quick on the Malik Willis, just to touch on the Malik Willis. I mean, I'm not a huge fan, but something needs to happen with the creativity, like you guys said. Right now, we're averaging 18 points per game on offense, and we're ranked 29th in the fucking NFL. That's absolutely disgusting. And the defense is the same way. I think we're ranked 26th. But the offense, you definitely got to be more creative and put him in the wildcat, just a threat like an RPO or something, or maybe even like make him throw a pass. Like I said, five to 7 plays a game. Like just get somewhat creative.
And even if you're not going to do it, what happened to the RPOs with Tannehill? We haven't. I don't think I've seen it once. What happened to the
I want to see him
rollouts?
hold the ball once. The past few years, he's broken a few big plays every year.
We've knocked it out. We've knocked it on the head so many times. It's downing in its offense. It's changed completely since Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith was all about that. Now we're not doing it.
Yeah, and I got. And it's funny on the previous pod I was on, there was a running joke about how much I disliked Arthur Smith, and I thought realistically, although the points were there, I thought it was more of a product of the talent we had rather than the scheme itself. But oh my God, I would sell the rights I would name my first 3 kids Arthur, whether it was a boy or a girl, to get him back, because I mean, this is
pinky toe off.
Look at the Falcons, man. They could be 4-0 right now if a few things don't, go their way.
yeah.
That offense has been looking, decent. They're
Decent.
scoring more points than we are. That's for
Yeah,
fun.
I mean, Patterson going down was huge for them, and that's
Yeah.
going to be tough. And if you looked at Mariota's stat line, it was pretty rough. But again, they won 2, a game they needed to win. And if I think they might have brought somebody in over the past few days. My memory might be mistaken, but regardless, what's that?
The boy will come.
Oh, that's probably what I'm thinking about. That's not worth even mentioning. That's hysterical. Yeah, I mean, God, Jesus, would I take him right now as a linebacker? Probably not, to be honest. But
linebacker played better.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah,
but
Dylan Cole he led the team in tackles, stepped in well for Zach.
I don't want to hear about Dylan Cole.
I'm just saying, stepped in
that's
well,
fine.
played well.
He had 5 tackles. Okay,
8 tackles.
Oh, I'm sorry. No. Okay. Yeah. Well, he had 5 solos, 3 assisted. Okay. But he's not good. I mean, he's not good. David Long started to come around. That's good to see. Farley was in there for a little bit. Where he stands now, I would have to watch the whole game again, which I do plan on doing at some point.
I would rather watch him stumble and look lost as opposed to the other motherfucker we brought in last week just get fucking cooked.
Yeah, I don't.
He's targeted.
I'm dumbfounded that Mitchell was still on the roster, let alone suited up, and somehow managed to get in there for a couple tackles. I don't know I don't know what to say about that. Whatever, it is what it is. But again, this pass rush has to get a little bit better. Weaver again had a decent game, another sack. He's one of the bright spots here. I got to look at the usage rate, but I hope he's getting a lot of snaps, because he seems to be their best option at the edge when Dupree can't make it, and he's been outperforming Dupree as far as stat sheet's concerned anyway. So, but I still think Dupree is a must as far as this pass rush is concerned. So moving on, let's get into this upcoming matchup against the Commanders. You guys mentioned trap game. I'll be honest, I'm not really looking at it like that this go around, because this team doesn't deserve to be given a label of a trap game, because you got to be really good to be able to have a game called a trap game. Nobody's telling me that the Commanders are far and away worse team than the Titans right now. Are they? Technically, yeah, but I don't think there's a huge gap at the moment, especially with our injury concerns moving forward. So what do you guys think we got to do to take care of business in Washington?
Yes, we got to pressure Wentz, our boy Wentz, force some turnovers with him. Big key factor for Washington is Dotson's not playing. He's out, but they do get Brian Robinson back, the rookie running back from Alabama. So that could be another twist in the run game with Antonio Gibson. Just contain the run. I'm not too worried about with that, especially after we contain JT. But the biggest thing is just the pressure and open up holes for Derrick Henry.
Man.
Familiar foe in Carson Wentz. He's probably still having nightmares about that left-handed interception on the goal line last year. So watch him play a lot, obviously, seeing how, I live right outside of Philly, but, he will make his mistakes. We just have to capitalize on it. But, we can't we can't get in our own way, which is what we like to seem to do. I could see this game going very similar to the last few weeks where we jump out to a nice lead and, we let them hang around. I want to see the difference be us keeping our foot on the gas, scoring points, trying to be more creative offensively. I'd like to see them get Chig more involved. I'd like to see Josh Gordon maybe get some red zone targets. I don't know, but something we
See the
haven't.
field.
Yeah, let's see something we haven't seen yet, really, on offense.
I think we threw a fade all year.
What's that?
I think we threw a fade all year.
Yeah, well, we got no one to throw fades to.
Yeah, we can't get in the red zone in the second half, obviously. So,
But no, I mean, I want to put pressure on Wentz, let him make his mistakes, and take care of business. Put our foot on the gas, keep Henry rolling. I know all things go through him, but obviously want to see more creativity with some more players. Especially Chig. I think he's going to be an athletic freak, and as the year goes on, I think he's a piece that you can move all over an offense, similar to what we did with Jonnu. Running creative plays with him. So yeah, I want to see more creativity. I want to see a defense that's going to continue to put pressure on a quarterback who's prone to make some mistakes, and I want to capitalize on it. And it's a road game and they're never easy in the NFL, but for whatever reason I feel like sometimes this team fucking plays better on the road. But yeah, let's not get in our own way. Let's stick to the run game, work off of that, get creative off of it, and play sound defense.
yeah, 100%. They got to get to Wentz early and often. I mean, that's really going to be a focal point. I'm not expecting really any.
If they put Heineke in soon either. They're
Yeah. I mean, I know that that's probably somewhat in the back of their minds. And I think a lot of their fan base is calling for him already too. So not like that really matters anyway. But
Commanders.
Whoever the fuck's back there, they got to get to him early and often. I'm not expecting really anything from the offense, to be quite honest with you, both of you. I mean, really, they just, when you're hurt like they are hurt, and Washington's got to know that it's going to primarily, the offense is going to run through Derrick Henry. I'm expecting this to be a down to the wire game, field goal game. I'm just looking for some life in the second half. That's my number one hope. Obviously, a win is number one, but secondly, to get to the win, I want to see some production in the second half. I want to see some shots downfield. I don't care who's out there. We never, ever throw down the field. We never take a shot deep. I mean, I don't get it. It's almost like there's really the worst thing that can happen. If you're at the 30-yard line, take a shot deep, it gets picked off, and it's like you punted it. I mean, and there's definitely a better chance that you're going to either catch it or get a PI rather than it getting picked off. But we never want to do it. We never want to air it out. We're content with throwing for 130 yards a game and giving, Derrick Henry as many carries as possible. It's not going to take you very far in this conference. We know that. But yeah, defense is good. The pass rush has to get better. And I think we need to be much more of an aerial team than we are a running team. And that's only going to help Derrick Henry long term, as far as the holes he might get. Maybe he doesn't see a stack box every single play. They got to try. They got to try to throw the ball more. Robert Woods is competent enough to give you 70, 80 yards if you let him. Maybe Phillips gets back in the mix. We saw what he's capable of when he catches the ball. Forget about the punts. He's a great pass catcher from what we've seen so far. And who knows who's going to be lifted, if it's going to be Gordon again, maybe McMath, or maybe Dez. I don't know who the hell is still around.
He's still on IR, isn't he? McMath?
Then it might be Des Fitzpatrick then. I don't know.
He's going to have to come back probably after the bye week. That's what I'm assuming. Him and Molden.
But you're leaving out NWI.
I know. I am.
Not anything, dude. And people were blowing him all year.
Not us, but yeah, a lot of people were. But Jesus, what the hell did he do last week? He had what?
Nothing.
Not even a target.
And it's funny.
But you know what? He's a great blocking wide receiver.
I hope you're being sarcastic, Jared.
Oh, absolutely. That's what fucking Vrabel said.
Okay. He's a core special teamer as well.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up, Jared. Before we move on, I made a tweet that I'm sticking with, and I don't give a shit who. I mean, because really, honestly, a lot of this fan base dick rides Mike Vrabel, and I understand it from someone who's just strictly the fan who goes to the games or sits at home every week with their kids, watch. Oh wow, look at this guy! Took a team with a lot of injuries, to the playoffs, number one seed. But you know something? Enough's enough. This guy's ego is so fucking annoying now. The way he talked to the report. I mean, I get a lot of coaches aren't hunky dory, with reporters. But I mean, you got to answer the questions, okay? If nothing else, somebody's owed some sort of response why you have the worst NFL offense in the second half by a landslide. Something's got to be said for that. And he doesn't want to answer any of the questions. So, he's in my doghouse right now. And I said, and this is the tweet I made that got people out of their wits, is that this is a what have you done for me lately league. And nobody escapes that. And Mike Vrabel hasn't done dick for this fucking football team lately. The wins they got were nothing to do with him. Again, clock management, another thing we didn't bring up, is a major problem with this team. Mike Vrabel thought it was necessary to drain the clock when you're up 2 touchdowns in the first half to put you in a position to get screwed out of kicking the field goal. It made zero sense why you had to worry about the clock when you're up 2 touchdowns and the opposing team couldn't do anything and you're around the 40-yard line or your own 40-yard line. Worst case scenario, it doesn't work out. You punt it to the 10-yard line. Why are you wasting time? It makes zero sense. And that's the only reason why this game was even obtainable by the Colts in the second half, because we fumbled the bag again in the first half, giving up easy points.
So 10 points right off the bat right there.
Right off the bat. So, he's in my doghouse and I'm getting a little fed up with the, coach him up, we're going to do this and that. I don't get any pleasure out of the post-game fucking, the locker rooms. I don't get anything out of that anymore because, this is really, I don't think Bill Belichick would be, storming the locker room, pumping their fist after a win like we saw last week. He might, but I don't personally see it because it's a win where you got to say to yourself, we got lucky, and this is getting embarrassing that we can't score points in the second half. Let's fix it. Let's get back on the horse and let's go. And he's all like, oh, you guys never quit. Da, 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 da. So that's just my opinion. I don't know how you two feel about it. But I'm getting a little tired of the Mike Vrabel, ego boost he's got to shove in everyone's face every week.
Just real quick with the coaching point now, we're back on it. The offensive efficiency, where you're talking about the schemes and the lack of production in the second half compared to the first half, the Titans' offensive efficiency rankings through 4 weeks overall is the best in the first half, number 1 in the NFL. The run is 4th in the NFL in the first half. Pass is 2nd in the NFL in the first half. Yeah. In the second half, every single one of them, last. 30-second last in the NFL.
How can it not
be?
That
just goes to show you that it's a coaching thing and you can't scheme to the other person's scheme because they're making adjustments at halftime to stop you what you did in the first half. You just cannot.
And that falls on Vrabel almost as much, if not the same amount as Downing. It has to. And I'm tired of
everyone. Can't make that swing from 1st to 31st that bad.
Everyone is so hell-bent on what they've done. Right. A lot of people give Tannehill a lot of leash room because he took over from Mariota and took us to the AFC Championship game. A lot of people give Mike Vrabel some leash room because he was coach of the year, because he took a team with a ton of injuries into the number 1 seed. Well, what the fuck good did any of that do for us? Okay. We got some AFC South banners. That's it. It was an epic It's been ever since, including the KC AFC Championship game. It's been a massive letdown every single game in the postseason. So why does anyone give a shit what we did previously with Tannehill, with Vrabel? It's meant nothing. Zero. At least if we got to the Super Bowl, I would have given you that. All right, that's a major accomplishment. But since that KC game, which has been a letdown, Tannehill nor Vrabel is owed nothing from us. And a lot of the fan base here, it wants to say you have no right to critique any of them, and it's bullshit. But then you want to give your take on any of that?
Yeah. I mean, listen. It's. I understand where you're coming from. I absolutely do. With the second half adjustments and his ego, but listen, there's only 32 NFL head coaches in the world. They all have egos. Some just let it show more than others, and he definitely lets it show a little more because I think that's his bravado, even from when he was a player. And it's led to his attitude as a coach. So listen, since he's taken over, we haven't had a losing season yet. We've been competitive, but I'm with you, Sal. It's to the point where I'm tired of being competitive. I want to win one. You know what I mean? So I get it. And the only thing that's kind of concerning with me is, especially we saw it this week with Henry's interview post game, where you could tell how when he was on the field still how pissed off he was about how we got to get better in the second half. And even though we won, we have to, can't let our opponent back in the game. And then you hear Vrabel talk, well, it's like it's as if it's not that big of a deal. So it's like a mixed bag with me because he definitely is a very, very good head coach. Just kind of you feel like he's refusing to change a little bit. And sometimes if you refuse to adapt, eventually it'll bite you in the ass. So do I think he's going anywhere? No, I think he's going to be here until, God forbid, we string together consecutive losing seasons. So I don't want to talk too ill on him because I don't think he's going anywhere, and we're going to be not stuck with him, for lack of a better term. But I could definitely understand the frustration some fans might have when it comes to, his inability to realize that his offense has become completely inefficient in the second half of what is now 4 games.
Yeah.
So I'm on the fence about him. I like him as a head coach. I think if he ever wasn't a head coach here, he would get a job overnight.
Oh yeah. No, without question, I agree.
But I'm with you, Sal. I understand the frustration. I'm tired of being a team that's a competitor every year. I want to be known as a team that, okay, they're marking their calendars when they play us because we're one of the best teams in the fucking league. Not a team that, listen, we could beat the best teams, but we can also lose to the worst teams. I want to be a team that, is a top contender every year in the AFC. So on the fence about it. I'm not trying to give like a politician like answer there, but that's what you got. But I definitely understand the frustration from you and from other fans as well.
Yeah, and listen, the last thing I'll say before we go into our predictions and get out of here, you're right. There are a lot of coaches in the NFL. A lot of them have egos. A lot of them have huge egos. A couple I'll mention, but like I already did before, Belichick, Mike Tomlin. Those are just a few that have very big egos, and they show it a lot. But here's where the difference lies. Okay, they have big egos, but they don't let their egos get in the way of a cut and dry decision that's going to benefit their football team. Perfect example. Mike Tomlin has a huge ego, and he has a right to have an ego. He's a Super Bowl champion coach. He's got an incredible record as a coach.
Never under 500.
Pickett's already in. Pickett's in already because they brought Trubisky in. I thought maybe he could have gotten him somewhere. He wasn't happy with it. That's it. Pickett's the guy moving forward. Bullshit. None of that. We're done. Let's go. Belichick, if he was a coach of the Titans, you want to tell me that Todd fucking Downey would still be calling plays 2-2 with no points in the second half? Come on. There's a difference between having an ego and letting it affect you being a good football coach. And he is letting his ego get in the way of making decisions that will benefit this team immediately. And that's where my problem lies. So we'll see how it turns out. But for now, he is 100% in my doghouse. And I don't see any signs of him getting out anytime soon. But there's certainly an opportunity.
Rightfully so. I mean, we're three fucking heated New Jersey fucking passionate Titan fans.
Yeah.
So I understand where everyone's coming from. But like I said, I like to play devil's advocate a little bit here. I think there has been some progression. Not talking about second half offense because we all agree on that. It's been horrible. Skill wise, player sets, the offensive line, I think, has gotten better
definitely.
Week. I think scheme wise, even in the points from the Giants game, we scored 13 points. It's been getting better in the first half, obviously, with the numbers I just said. So something needs to happen. It's still very early in the season. I think this is going to keep righting the ship going on to the gauntlet in November. So hopefully that all happens out.
It's just, it sucks because I'm actually a believer that if we had a different play caller, I mean, you look at the AFC teams coming into the season, I mean, you were like, whoa, like the AFC is loaded. And by all means they are, but a lot of these teams are underperforming a lot. So, if we just had some sort of play caller that could make an adjustment or two at the half and get us a fucking touchdown and a field goal in the second half, this team could really, there's a lot of continuity with our team, with the exception of maybe the wide receiver group. They could make a push. They could shock some people, but you're never beating anyone when you can't even get a field goal in the third or fourth quarter. So
it almost seems like we're going to need a few things to break our way in December and January for us to make a serious run.
Why does it come down to us three guys having a podcast, other people having podcasts talking about Titans? How does it that we see that Hooper and Chig and all these guys should get more involved with more targets. And these guys who get paid fucking millions of dollars, they can't see that.
Yeah.
We have no
Well,
threat besides Derrick Henry. Spread the fucking ball out a little bit. You know, give us a chance in the second half.
It's tough, and I don't have an answer for it. I mean, we've been begging for this guy to lose his job with so many reasons to be this way for weeks and weeks and weeks, and he's just going to keep continuing to stick with him and believe in him and talk highly of him. And it's a slap in our face. I'll say it. I've said it before. I'll say it again. And it is what it is. We don't have a choice at this point. We got to just hope it gets better and pray for a miracle that this guy turns into Andy Reid when it matters the most. But I mean, good Lord, how's it going to happen? I don't know. So let's get into the predictions real quick. I mean, this has been a fast hour. Final score predictions for Commanders Titans. Vin?
31-21. And before we get off too, I wanted to shout out, none of us mentioned Christian Fulton's name, who I'm going to now say is the best corner we've had probably since Samari Roll. Great job on Devontae Adams last week. Great job this week as well. Our defense, our secondary is noticeably better when he is on the field.
Yeah.
And you feel like when we get Molden back, him, McCreary, and Molden with a
lot of potential.
Yeah, a lot of potential in that secondary. Don't want to divert from the prediction, but we owe him a pat on the back because none of us mentioned him, and he is clearly a difference maker. When
100%. After that burnt Sterling Shepard touchdown he gave up, I was 5 feet from. Unfortunately, he's been out of this world since then. That was a huge play, and I think he knew it. And he's been pretty locked down since. So 100%. Christian Fulton,
31-21. Tennessee.
Wow, 31 points in the first half. That would be great.
Yeah, you're definitely high on them with the offensive side. I like to say I came the closest last week, predicting 26-16 with a lot of field goals. I was pretty close. So I'm going to give it again. This team cannot score more than 24 points. So I'm keeping it at that. We're going to win 24-13 again this week.
Okay, that's fair. I'm going to go 17-10. That's where I'm going to go. I mean, they should have their way. What's that?
Who wins the game?
Oh yeah, Tennessee wins the game. I'm not betting against them until
the three of us, you could be the most pessimistic. So we didn't know if you're giving a dub here on the pod.
No, I mean, if we only score 10 against Washington, then you guys will be hosting by yourselves next week. 17-10. I expect 10 points in the first half and a touchdown in the second half. And I expect us to really just dominate. To dominate defensively, I think we're going to really have our way with them. But I don't want to say that too loud because there's no team in the NFL that surprises their fan base more than the Titans. Go ahead, Jared.
Do we get a defensive touchdown this week?
No, we do not.
No, but Derrick Henry's running for 200 yards this week.
I got him for 125 and 2 scores, and I think we get a defensive touchdown this week.
I mean, I hope so. If he does 200 yards with Robert Woods and this Nick Westbrook-Ikhine as their primary aerial attack guys, then he really is back. Because I don't know how he doesn't see more than 8 guys in the box on every fucking down next week. But we'll see. 17-10 is my prediction. I'd love for them to double that. 34-10 would be nice too. We'll see how it goes. But we're going to wrap up here. And anything else to add before we close out, fellas?
That is it.
That's it. All right, guys. As always, make sure to check us out, YouTube and not Instagram. That might be coming soon too, but YouTube, Spotify, Apple, whatever. Like, comment, subscribe, the whole 9. We're hoping to continue to grow, and we need your help to do that. So we're going to head out. We'll see you next week. And as always, tighten up. And just give me a safety in the second half. I'll be happy with that. Don't even give me 3 points. Give me a safety. Give me something to be happy about second half offense somehow, even if it's got to be from the defense. Peace.
Let Malik Willis.
Yeah. Please give 7 a touch or 2
when we got the game.
Please, or at least let him put a headset on. Let him just have some input in the offense. Let him talk to Tannehill, please. All right, guys. Talk to you later.